Next, on PJA Radio's The Unconventionals.
You do not want to start a burger chain with the word healthy tied to it. Trust me, don't do that. So what we do instead is we tell you the total story of the burger. We tell you the farmer, we tell you who grinds it, we tell you what's in it, we tell you what it does to you, and then implicitly and subtly you know that it's way better for you because it's natural.
I'm talking to John Olinto, founder and president of b.good. We're on a rooftop in Boston, 9 floors above his restaurant below. b.good is a burger joint, but pretty far from your typical fast food. This rooftop is Exhibit A. John's company has a garden up here, 40 plastic baby pools filled with organic compost. They harvested 100 pounds of collard greens up here in June. Right now, the pools are filled with tomato plants, which will yield over 1,000 pounds. The store manager comes up and picks tomatoes a few times a week, which means that when you order a tomato mozzarella salad downstairs, the tomatoes are about as farm to table as they come. John wouldn't use farm to table to describe b.good, and he clearly doesn't want to use the word healthy either. Not because either word is inaccurate, it's just that neither were his mission when he first opened up. Here's John on exactly what that mission is and how it has been elastic enough to grow with the company.
b.good is all about making fast food real. So, my buddy and I, we were childhood friends. 10 years ago, we set on this quest to try to change fast food, and back then it meant we were going to make what we called fast food real. So the idea was always to serve food made by people, not factories. So 10 years ago, we didn't say we're going to make fast food local. We didn't say we're going to make fast food all natural. We said we're going to make it real. It's going to be made by people. So from the beginning, it was always, we need to know where the food comes from. We need to know what happens to the food. We need to make it ourselves whenever we can. In the early days, we thought real food meant you grind your own beef, you cut your own fries. As you learn more and as you evolve and as you become a better business, you realize that your brand needs to improve, and that idea of food made by people should extend to the supply chain. So, all of a sudden it wasn't enough for us to just grind beef every day. Then we started thinking, well, maybe real food isn't cows that are shot with antibiotics and hormones, or maybe real isn't a factory farm where it's just a huge industrial machine. Maybe we should know the farmer. Maybe we should know how he treats the land. Maybe we should know how he treats his animals. And so I think the idea was always to make it real, but we didn't have a set defined idea of what we were trying to do. Yeah. And so I think what's happened is that we continue to get better. And there are no real rules about local or natural organic. It's all about people. So if we can find a person and we think that they are passionate and that they love what they do and that we like them, then we want to work with them. So I don't think we've never said we have to do this or we have to do that, other than it has to be people that are real.
So it's one thing to try to do that if you've got one restaurant on the corner. It's a different thing when you've got 12 and more to come, right? Yeah. So can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I think it's the crazy part about it is that I think it gets easier as you grow, or at least at the scale we were at now. So, I think 10 years ago, we never would have been able to structure a deal with a local farm or a co-op of local farms and say, hey, we need to order 200 pounds of beef, and we need to do it at this price so that we can serve it to our customers at $5.99, because that's a price point we want to be competitive at. I think 5 years later, as our brand evolved and our idea of real food has matured, we had 5 times the buying power. And so when we approach these farms, we can say, guys, we're going to sign a contract that we're always going to order 2,000 pounds of beef every single week. And when you can do that, it's a much more meaningful relationship with these guys. And I think, and that's where the opportunities are, and that's where we've been able to do what we've done. So I think a lot of, b.good is very fortunate. Like, we got really lucky. I think, had we started out with, we wouldn't have been able to start the concept the way it is now. And it was something we had to grow into. And I think as we get bigger and as we can have more of an impact, I think it allows us to have more meaningful relationships that allow us to continue to push on the idea of real.
So where do you get your beef from?
So our beef comes from a co-op of family farms that's scattered throughout throughout the eastern seaboard. We focus, it's called Pineland Farms. So it's headquartered out of New Gloucester, Maine. We get the bulk of our beef from small farms throughout New England. And they have one really large farm in Fort Fairfield. So every single week we'll get an email that'll have about 12 different farms, and it'll tell us exactly who we source from for that week. There's always one farm in Fort Fairfield that's always part of that mix. So we can truly say every single week that we know that Christy is one of the farmers that has raised the beef.
And is it all grass-fed beef? Is it all?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of real food, we think it doesn't get any more real. I mean, I've been to a bunch of farms. I've been up to the big farm in Fort Fairfield, and I know what the animals eat. I know the way they're treated. It's the real deal.
Yeah.
It's something we're proud of.
It's one thing to be a mission-driven business when you're really small. But what happens when you get big? b.good gives us a fascinating window into this question, is they're right on that hinge. John has 12 stores today, all company-owned. He's launched a franchise program and will expand to over 50 stores in the next 3 years. So what happens to rooftop gardens, buying from local farms, or homemade corn salsa as they scale?
During different parts of the year, we serve different products. So we're doing, for example, right now, local corn is in season. So we're serving a side of local corn, grilled corn on the cob. We're doing a seasonal burger with homemade corn salsa. We're doing a local tomato salad, and we're also serving a local peach smoothie. Those will all be around for about a month because that's how long those crops will grow for.
So is that, in a way, it's gotten easier as you guys have gotten bigger. Has it gotten harder in any ways? Like, to repeat that peach smoothie or that salad across 12 stores, does that get tricky in trying to maintain consistency? Or, how do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's really hard. I mean, I think that operations they become more complex when you grow. So I don't think the sourcing and the real food side is harder. I think in like we said before, I think with a little more buying power, you can actually create better partnerships with local farms. But I do think that 12 stores, it's a lot harder to make 12 incredible local tomato mozzarella salads than it is if you had one.
Right.
So,
well, at what point does it's got to be easier just to buy all this stuff from Cisco, right? And I know that's not your mission, but do you ever feel like, oh God, wouldn't it just be easy if a truck could pull up and it's all the same stuff? And
yeah, but I think so the whole idea is we'll never ever stop believing that we can serve food made by people in our factories. Like, that's our mission. It's hardwired in. So when we do that, we will have sold out, and we will not be b.good anymore. We'll be probably owned by another big conglomerate.
Yeah. Well, I wonder too. I mean, there's so many great brands out there, even burger brands like Five Guys, who I don't really know their history, but started small, started really authentic, and now they're everywhere, and it doesn't feel like it's that special anymore. So you ever worry about getting to that point with you guys, or is there a scale at which you feel like, hey, we can't be about real food and real people anymore?
Yeah, I think it's super hard. I mean, you think about the great retail brands, and you always wonder if they're diluted by scale. And I think if we stay true to the idea of people, not factories, I think it doesn't matter where you're eating your burger, because I think humans connect with humans emotionally. And I think if you're eating a burger in Texas and you know that your farmer is from your community, and you know that he's been raising cattle for 50 years, and you know that he's doing it the right way, I think the emotional connection is the same as if you're doing it here in Boston. So I think it's really on us to make sure that we're providing the same experience across all these different places, but truly it's going to be more about can we live up to the brand standards that we've set from the beginning and deliver it no matter where we are.
Yeah. A disclosure here. I'm a big fan of b.good, and I'm a family member actually, which is what b.good calls its repeat customers. There's a b.good right down the street from our offices in Harvard Square, and to be honest, I stayed away from it for the first year it was open because someone told me it was a healthy burger joint. Now, I like to think I pay attention to what I eat, but when I'm craving a burger, I want a great burger, not a healthy burger. So healthy is a tricky concept to attach to something like a hamburger. This is not too different from Unreal Candy, our Unconventionals guest a few shows back. You'll recall that Unreal is a candy company, and they've taken a lot of the artificial junk out of their candy bars. But they certainly wouldn't call their product healthy. They're staking their claim on real candy, just as b.good is on real burgers.
It's a funny story. When we started 10 years ago and we wrote our business plan, we were much more explicitly driven by health, or at least that was what we thought really was going to be maybe a differentiator for us in the concept itself. And over time, we realized that you do not want to sell healthy burger, or you don't want to position yourself as a healthy burger place. It's super polarizing. It's confusing. Nobody knows what healthy means. So slowly we realized that we had to strip it out of our vocabulary. So you'll never see the word healthy anywhere. You'll see nutritional information. You'll see sources and ingredients because we think that's transparency and that's real. But you do not want to start a burger chain with the word healthy tied to it. Trust me, don't do that. So what we do instead is we tell you the total story of the burger. We tell you the farmer, we tell you who grinds it, we tell you what's in it, we tell you what it does to you, and then implicitly and subtly you know that it's way better for you because it's natural.
And it's healthy is not the same as real. There's an intersection set maybe, but they're not exactly the same, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely an intersection, and I think in the customer's mind, I think if you can convince them that it's real food, then it is healthy, and you get that benefit. I mean, I think, it's probably not healthy to drink a milkshake every day, but we sell them, and it's made with Toscanini's ice cream, which is this incredible ice cream parlor in Cambridge, and with this hormone-free milk, and those are the only ingredients that are in it. It's delicious and it's real. But I think, like everything, there's a balance there.
When we come back, we'll talk to John about his plans from the very beginning to disrupt an industry that desperately needed to be disrupted.
You're listening to PJA Radio's The Unconventionals. If you'd like to learn more about the show or join in on the conversation, check out our Facebook page, facebook.com/unconventionalsradio. Our academic sponsor for The Unconventionals is the Center on Global Brand Leadership at Columbia Business School, which turns the research of academia's foremost thinkers on branding into practical tools and insight for real-world application. For more information, visit globalbrands.org.
Welcome back to The Unconventionals, stories about business ingenuity and outsized results. b.good, at the very least, is a feel-good business story. A couple of childhood friends who love their burgers and think they've got a better idea for a restaurant. They get it started. Now, fast forward a couple years, and they're planning for 50 stores across New England. It's a great story. But what makes b.good important is the way they're succeeding. It's a reinvention of what big fast food has become. It is the grass-fed beef and the local veggies. It's the people. It's the crazy contests they run. It's the fact that they raise a lot of money for local nonprofits by getting a dozen people to run the Boston Marathon in burger costumes. The following is from Fast Food Nation, Eric Schlossberg's takedown of the mainstream burger industry. He writes, "Whatever replaces the fast food industry should be regional, diverse, authentic, unpredictable, sustainable, profitable, and humble." It sounds an awful lot like he's talking about b.good.
So when we started, our idea was that we were going to make fast food real, and we had we had juxtaposed it against what was wrong with present day fast food 10 years ago, and still it hasn't changed much. So we said there were three things that were wrong with fast food, and these ideas are simple, but it was really it resonated well with investors and like customers and anybody we talked to. So we were able to raise money around this idea. And the three things were: the food wasn't real; it was made by scientists and in factories, and there was no transparency. Second piece is that there weren't real people that were a part of the brand. So you look at Taco Bell and they use a dog that speaks Spanish. It has nothing to do with food or people. And it's very, I think, symbolic of fast food in general. Like the king is wearing a giant mask running on a football field. You have no idea. There's no mention of food or people. And so I think when you look deeper, you see that fast food was built on this idea that the people are the interchangeable parts, and that you invest in technology and mostly automated equipment to produce the food. So you can't really tell the story of people because they're not really critical to the operation. So then the third piece was this idea of making a real experience. So we said that the experience wasn't real in fast food because it was just about efficiency and transaction. It wasn't about building a community and having emotional attachments to people. So for us, it was like we want to do the exact opposite of what the winners are doing. So we said McDonald's they've gone too far, right? Like 50 years ago, McDonald's was all about at some level, real relationships. And, I think with scale and automation, it changed. So we said we're going to disrupt the category by coming in and doing those three things that basically take it and say, we're going to do the opposite of whatever the industrial giants are doing. And I think you can look around at other, especially in food and beverage, I think there's a lot of opportunity for these smaller guys to look at the behemoths that have totally automated and industrialized our food chain and say that there are these little spots where they can make some real impact.
I think to me the interesting question is, when does that really disrupt an industry, and when does it just stay on the margins? For people who are paying attention and want to pay more for that stuff, and when does it really start to change the industry? So Honest Tea, that brand is now a Coca-Cola brand, but it has maintained its independence, hasn't changed the product at all, but takes advantage of Coca-Cola's distribution power.
Yeah.
So, maybe that's a good story, not a bad story.
Yeah, I think it's a great story. I mean, I think that's great. I mean, I think we, as consumers, we win when, when companies make food that's real. So I think that's a great story. I think, Chipotle is, in a lot of ways, is another great success story because they were able to leverage McDonald's infrastructure, and, McDonald's took an equity stake in them when they had 6 units, and they were able to step on the gas and grow that brand so quickly because they had all of this great support from purchasing and systems and operations and distribution. So I think it's a great opportunity for somebody to disrupt the category, and then for a bigger guy or bigger organization to take advantage of the momentum they create,
But you do wonder, so if, I'm not saying this is ever going to happen, but McDonald's comes and makes you an offer you can't refuse, are they ever going to allow your guys to create that local mozzarella tomato salad? Like, would that have any room in the McDonald's universe?
I think it does. I think that they recognize it. I mean, I see, like, I've watched Chipotle really closely, and the food with integrity thing, like, we win because Chipotle raises consciousness. So I think, like, Whole Foods and Chipotle, like, I'm a supporter, and I think the more that they do, the better it is for independent companies like us, because they lift awareness, and people understand what real food's supposed to be about. And so I think in some ways they convert more of maybe those mainstream customers over to understand a little bit more about why it's important to buy beef from local farms.
Good 2004. That's right, fast food at B's good for you. Y'all ready? Yo, it's hard in these streets to find food to eat that's not high in fat or deep fried in grease. I used to have a nasty, obese physique, and when it came to girls, I could never breathe. I was a fast food addict, my situation tragic. When I found b.good, it was just like magic. Now I'm healthy and slim, getting girls with ease. I get b.good when I have dumb and cheese. I'm there for lunch.
We've talked a lot about the food, but for b.good, it's as much about the people as it is about the burgers. What you've just heard is the b.good anthem, created by a college kid in exchange for a bunch of free burgers. b.good could have run ads, but it made much more sense for them to turn to a member of their family. b.good's family of customers is critical, but the focus on people starts with employees, treating the people who grind the burgers and cut the fries as, well, people.
Yeah, so I think when you start by saying people make, or it's food made by people, not factories, and you stick, so in a lot of times we stick people's face, like our employees they're our spokespeople, so they're on signs, they're on our vehicles. I don't think you can do that and not value them, but I think the value it's not just about us wanting to create this great company that pays everybody fairly. I think we do that because it's the right thing to do, but we also see there's a business benefit to it. So we've always paid our staff more than the going rate in fast food, and we also pay our GMs way more than the average GM. We also have a stock program now for our GMs, and we did it because we know that our employees, if we're going to be successful, our managers need to be owners of our company. And again, this is not just us being good guys. This is us trying to create a company that we're proud of, but at the same time trying to create a company that is very successful.
Managers got to make a huge difference in a restaurant, right?
Yeah, I mean, I really do believe that a great store manager can make all the difference. They can have a bigger impact than even myself on the actual day-to-day operations of the business and the success of a store. I mean, a great b.good can serve 500 people a day. That's 500 different experiences. You have an opportunity 500 times to win people over and make them super loyal and make them happy. And I think a great manager understands that, and they actually nail it. So.
As I finish my conversation with b.good co-founder John Olinto on the rooftop garden 9 stories up from his restaurant, it occurs to me that so much of what makes the company interesting is that it's the opposite of the standardized, mass-produced burger experience. So I asked John, with 50 stores coming online over the next 3 years, will they still be doing things like growing tomatoes on the rooftop?
All day long. We would never not do that. Yeah, I mean, that's again, it has to be, it has to fit in with our mission of food made by people, not factories.
As we wrap this season of the Unconventionals, we wanted to take a second to thank you for listening. As we look forward to our next season, we're always on the hunt for businesses that are rethinking categories, upending assumptions, and generally changing the way we do things for the better. If you have suggestions for next season, let us know on the Unconventionals Facebook page.
The Unconventionals is written and produced by Mike O'Toole with Reed Mangan. Post-production and technical direction by Reed Mangan with Emmanuel Ording. Promotions, distribution, and social strategy by Greg Straface and Graham Spector. Our creative director is Aaron De Silva. Our executive producer is Phil Johnson for PJA Advertising and Marketing. I'm Jafia Leahy. To hear more episodes of The Unconventionals, visit pjaradio.com.